I believe that in a way architecture has to dialogue with nature, and I've been trying to, through my work, understand what is the best way of dialoguing with nature. I think that we human beings have a basic necessity of having a roof on top of ourselves because we cannot survive otherwise. And we proved somehow that caves are not for us. We are human beings that need other types of covers, not just covers, no, but beautiful spaces to inspire our lives. So architecture needs to be built and on top of nature. So how do we create that relationship? It's been a long interest of my work, and I think architecture at the end comes from nature, no? Because at the end we build the environment, but from the environment, no? And I like to also link my architecture very much to that directly. So sometimes we build with the earth from the ground of the projects that we're building, and sometimes we are mixing that earth with other materials, or we cook it and we do bricks or whatever, but I like to link it very much directly, a direct link, no? So sometimes I like to think that it not only learns, but it comes from there, directly or indirectly. That's my way of understanding, at least, or how I approach the buildings. And then I think that I believe that an incredible relationship, and this is the way I teach. It's two-way learning, no? So I don't believe in this, the professor and the learner. No, I believe that the most enriching relationship is when the two sides learn. So I would think that nature also has things to learn from architecture, no? Or at least dialogue. I speak more in terms of dialogue than a learning process. No, I believe that these two possibly counterparts, I don't know if I want to call them counterparts, can speak, and by establishing a nice way of like the first sentence of that dialogue, I think then it would become a dialogue, and more enriching dialogue, even in the future, no? And this is what I tried to do in the botanical garden specifically. For me, it was really important to understand how these two worlds could speak to each other and could then almost blend and become one. And it's starting to happen, no? After 15 years of the first buildings, the first buildings after 12 years, they're starting to be invaded by nature, and architecture has started also to invade other parts of the garden. So I think that it has started to become a beautiful dialogue. I believe there's a difference between the two environments. I mean, it's like two individuals speaking. We're totally different from each other, but we can speak and we can agree on things, or we could disagree and fight. And I see nature and architecture the same way. And I believe that we as human beings are losing that connection, because I think that probably the built environment has a lot to blame, because I don't think that people have thought of the built environment of being a counterpart of nature that could dialogue with it. No, I think if we see this separation and as a binary, the built environment of the nature, we're damaging both. No, and I think that's what happened. What is happening, and this is why I think that we're losing respect for that other, because we're not looking at it. No, I think that when you're not able to look at the other, you are not able to relate with, so you don't care. And I think that's the way that the built environment has acted towards nature. And I think this is why we are damaging it so much. You know, I have understood that we, from our academic background, think we can understand everything, but I don't think we can. I think it's totally impossible. And I have learned, like in the first job I did outside my country, which was far away, was in China, and it was really one of the first works I did. I really thought I would immerse myself in the Chinese culture, you know, in 2 days. I'm a complete Chinese and I know the context, and I'm going to operate like, you know, being very local and understanding the way these things are built here and the culture and blah, blah, blah. And then little by little through the years, I understood that I cannot understand a thing about a place if I really am not from that place. Which then brings me to the point where I probably don't know anything about anything but just my neighborhood where I grew up and I lived for 35 years in depth and in truth to react, no? So then I was thinking that for me at least the way to operate abroad is that to have that opportunity that I come from other places and I have other references to see things that people that when you're normally embedded in the context you don't see. And that could become an opportunity for a building to emerge in this situation. And instead of, and then being very honest about saying, well, I would not understand the context here at all. And I better operate with what I can bring to it and make it the best out of it, no? And instead of pretending that I could understand the history and the culture, I rather think that I very focus and concentrate in what I believe I can give, which is the things that I have from where I come from.